Final game we're talking about is the only Big 12 contender to kind of survive this week, besides Arizona State, obviously.
Barely.
Besides Arizona State. But Iowa State surviving against Utah with a 31-28 victory. Let's go over the highest grade players, starting off with the Cyclones. Wide receiver Jaden Higgins, 86.5. Dominique Orange, the defensive tackle, with a 74.8. Carson Hansen, running back, with a 73.9. Miles Purchase with a 70. Bo Freiler, the safety, with a 68.7. And then Rocco Becht with a 61.9 grade against Utah. Let's go over to Utah with their highest grade players, starting off with Spencer Fano, who's been balling out all year for them at right tackle with an 85 grade in this game. Jonathan Hall, the safety, 78.8. Tao Johnson, the other safety, 77.4. Junior Tafuna, 76.8, the defensive tackle. Carson Ryan, 75.8, the tight end. And Isaac Wilson with a 61.6 grade. Dalton, for you, what was that little story in this Iowa State victory?
Now, this game for Iowa State, maybe considering what they accomplished on defense, they probably should have had a wider margin here, and Utah had a big comeback behind the millionth quarterback that's played this year after Isaac Wilson got hurt. But the stat for me is that Mekhi Bernard had 17 carries for 42 yards. And if you hold him to that, and when you're playing Utah, and Colorado did it to them last week, you got a really darn good chance of winning, because Utah is not trying to beat you with their quarterbacks in their passing game, even though they almost kind of squeaked it out here. And this got to be the game where you almost had this just whatever black magic Kyle Whittingham has going when you play in that stadium, and with whatever QBs that he has, he just finds ways to keep this team in games. And I know they're on what now, a 7-game losing streak, Utah is. I mean, it's been unfortunate, the results for them, but boy, it's a battle. Anytime you have to go into Utah and play them, it's ridiculous. But credit Iowa State. We've criticized their defense a lot this year, especially up front. 78.1 run defense, great as a team. They're best of the season.
Yeah.
You want to compete in the Big 12? Stop the run. Bring that to Kansas State, to the Kansas State game next week. You might be going to the Big 12 title game. You might find yourself in playoff contention. If that sticks, now we're on to something with Iowa State, because all year it's been the skill guys overcoming the trench deficiencies. If they can, now next week's a lot tougher task considering Kansas State, against Utah, with the two tasks you're talking about. But it's been done. We know with Kansas State, we know the formula. Stop the run, get ahead of them, you can beat them, right? They bring this level of run defense into next week, they have a very good shot of going to the Big 12 title game. If it goes back to some old habits and what we had with getting physically dominated in some other games, then it's a problem. So which Iowa State run defense are we getting? In this game, we got the good one. Bernard was shut down and at least set the foundation for them winning a game a lot closer than they thought they would, given that situation, but they got it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go into my most impressive, because that really was it, the Iowa State run defense. With Utah having not much of a passing game to speak of, which we'll talk about in just a second as well, all they had to do was just step up to win this game. They did. Only 109 yards allowed on the ground, 1.5 yards after contact allowed in this game. 14 of the 24 runs for Utah were categorized as wins for Iowa State. They had 7 tackles for loss or no gain. They had the second worst run defense grade in the Power 4 this year at 66.3, only ahead of Oklahoma State in the Power 4, which honestly makes sense by their scheme. They run a 3-3-5 defense. They're not designed to stop the run. But
they've had a lot of injuries too, especially at linebacker.
Yeah, exactly. But so injuries and the scheme and everything, it's just they did a great job though of focusing on it this week. They knew, hey, Utah's going to want to run the football on us. They're not going to want to air it out. Let's focus on the run. And they did a great job of shutting down the Utah run game in this one. Dalton, for you, the most impressive part of this Iowa State victory?
Feels like it's always one of these two receivers, isn't it? I've had the Jalen Noel rant earlier in this year. This one's the Jaden Higgins rant. Jaden Higgins is currently leading the nation now in receiving grade at 90.4. 9 catches, 155 yards, and a touchdown in this game, an 85.7 receiving grade. And just any time Rocco Becht needs a big play, he can go to one of these two guys. And in this game, it was Higgins. 8 of his 9 catches went for a first down or a touchdown. There is a reason the two of these guys both got invited to the Senior Bowl, and they're going to be NFL players. Higgins more in that line of taller, bigger receivers, possession receivers that Iowa State's had. When you think about Hakeem Butler and Xavier Hutchinson and Alan Lazard, like these bigger guys that they just seem to always have. Higgins was just spectacular. He's best player on the field. in this game. Again, there's other weeks where it's Jalen Noel. There's other weeks where it's both of them. And these two receivers, they're what make this offense so dangerous. They're two of the best in the country.
Yeah, and Donnie in the chat even pointing out a great stat that Jalen Noel is 24 yards away from 1,000 yards. Jaden Higgins already over 1,000 yards. If Noel gets the 24 yards, which he will, they will be the first time ever in Iowa State history to have two 1,000-yard receivers in the same year. So they have a heck of a duo there at Iowa State. So my sentinel story, though, I want to get into just real quick. Dalton, Utah, 4 quarterbacks that are now out with injuries now. 4. Simply no other way to put it. Utah's had insanely bad luck at quarterback this year. Obviously, Cam Rising played 3 games this year before being ruled out for the season again due to multiple injuries. Brandon Rose played 2 games before suffering a season-ending lower leg injury. Sam Heward, the former 5-star recruit they brought in through the transfer portal, he's out for the season with surgery. Isaac Wilson got kind of gator-rolled against Iowa State in that loss yesterday. He could probably be out next week as well. So, and not to mention, Money Parks, they're one of their top receivers, and Brant Keith, their star tight end, also out for the year with injury. So 2 of your top 3 pass catchers are done for the year as well. Luke Batari is their 5th-string quarterback. 5th string.
And they almost won this game.
And not only that, you're missing your star tight end and you're missing your number 2 receiver as well. So your 5th-string quarterback and your number 2 receiver and your star tight end are all out. Like, at some point, it's just like they have no chance.
It's
dude.
too much.
It's just too much. Like, it's just the fact that 4 quarterbacks for them are. I'm surprised they had a 5th, honestly. And for Kyle Whittingham, he probably should recruit like 10 quarterbacks a year just to have enough on the roster in case it keeps happening, man. Because the bad luck they've had in terms of injuries at quarterback specifically is insane. So listen, no team in college football can survive this. Not even one coached by Kyle Whittingham, honestly. So the fact that Luke Batari is their 5th-string quarterback and he's playing in this game is just kind of a microcosm of the Utah season. Just such bad luck in terms of injuries.
Yeah, no, they're another one. They've got a good football team and a well-coached football team. But I mean, we're just going to be sitting here wondering next year, like, okay, imagine this team with a healthy quarterback because, it just got away from them. It feels like ever since that Arizona State game when Rising didn't look great and then came out the next week and then he was just done. I mean, this has been the story really for 2 years is, well, who's their quarterback this week? And we still don't know. But going into next week, we might not know. So, no, it's a tough turn of events for Utah for sure, for a team that was supposed to contend. But I think with what Whittingham's got going there, it shouldn't take him long to turn it around as long as he finds someone that can stay healthy.
Yeah. So then Iowa State, they don't control their own destiny, right? So
No, I think I thought I saw some weird thing where they need BYU to win, actually. I know if all 4 teams win, it's Iowa State and Arizona State. That's what I know.
Okay.
It's the 4-way tie is fine with them. The rest of the details are all sorts of mess that we'll probably go over on Tuesday. We'll get into that. But the Big 12. Just
that makes no sense.
The epitome of chaos.
It's insane.
Just unreal.
Yeah, you need a drink if you're trying to figure out the tiebreaker scenarios there for the Big 12. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.